Yes, Wank Stains, we're back with another video. Today I'm going to be doing my personal little Forest review, season preview, should I say. It'll include last season and how I thought that shit show went. Karanka, O'Neill, Lamucci, all the new signings, everything pretty much that I think is going to happen this season, apart from easy promotion. But yeah, I'll get into it now. So just to start off, last season, we'll go over a little bit of a brief my opinion sort of thing. So I think last season, anything other than survival against Ipswich last day of the season would have been acceptable. But I think ninth was where we deserved. We absolutely fuck bottled it after Karanka's sort of January dealings. Obviously, he was sacked around the 14th of January or released or fucking mutually terminated, whatever you want to call it. Obviously, O'Neill was bought in, that sort of whole thing. I think we were doing well up until sort of January. We sort of stagnated a bit. I went to 9 of 10 away games, won a total of 0, drew 2, so that was brilliant. Lost at 7 others, but I think we looked poor under O'Neill, don't get me wrong. But towards the end, we started getting wins, and everyone was like, oh, maybe we'll give him to the start of the new season. But the football wasn't brilliant under O'Neill, which was obvious to see. Sort of to the tail end of the season, it was more sort of pick up the ball and twat it 60 yards forward to a big target man, Daryl Murphy. And don't get me wrong, Daryl Murphy deserves a Ballon d'Or, but it just wasn't working for him. I think the level of defence was a bit too shit for him. But I think overall we had an alright season. No one expected playoffs at the start of the season. We spent loads of money, but it was on an unproven talent, really. Like Graben being the exception. Joel Carvalho coming in, never playing a senior game of football in his life. Obviously showed up. He was very, very good. Only had 4 goals and 4 assists on the season, but obviously didn't play under O'Neill at all. So last season, I think, was just a bit of an average season, really. We sort of sailed through it, ups and downs. A typical Forest season, really. It was a fucking roller coaster. We gambled on a few players that didn't work. Obviously, Diego Gonçalves and Gil Diaz came in on loan. Shit is how I describe those loan deals. Jack Colback was dynamite, but it doesn't look like he'll be coming back this season. But yeah, so for last season, it's sort of your typical C grade sort of stuff, average sort of season. We expected more when we were in the top 6. We peaked at 5th with Karanka, especially just before the Derby game. But I don't think anyone expected anything too drastic from the season. So I think it was all right for where we came. And yeah. So before I get to Lamucci and my whole opinions on that sort of shit, I thought I'd go through one by one every signing we've made this window. Going from sort of wherever I see fit, whoever I want to talk about, I'll talk about. I ain't doing it in no order because I don't owe anyone anything. So, Arijanet Muric, fuck knows how you say his first name. He's Kosovan and Montenegrin. If that isn't a shithouse blend of countries, I don't know what is. But obviously, he's rated highly by Pep Guardiola, coming on loan from City, obviously on a 1-year loan deal, 20 years of age. Forest fans got their first sort of look at him against Olympiacos, where he was, how I can only describe as dog shit, costing us 2 goals in a 3-0 loss. But then he came and we played Palace and we played Sociedad. And in those games, he impressed me quite a lot because I went to both. He impressed me quite a lot. I thought he was commanding in his area. He was a bit shaky at times with the ball at his feet. But in general, very good distribution-wise. Sort of commanded his area to say he's a new to the team. I think it'd be a solid sign. I think he'll get the number... Well, he's obviously wearing like number 46 or some shit. But yeah, Pantilemon's kept number 1, which many lead to believe that will keep him as at the club because he's been given number 1. But I think Muric will be the effective number 1, the starting keeper for this season. And next up we have Martin O'Neill's only signing, Sam Yamiobi, 20-year-old centre foot, 27-year-old, fuck me if he was 20. 27-year-old left winger, striker-y kind of player. He's 6'4". He's O'Neill type of player. He's settled in quite well to the Lamucci style of play, sort of playing behind Albert Adoma kind of thing. I do think fans hated him. He got an unwelcome response, to be honest. I didn't mind him coming in, especially on a 1-year deal or whatever it was, as a free transfer. I thought it'd be a good bit of business. If he doesn't work out, let him go at the end of the season. Don't have to pay him too much. But he was met with quite a lot of hate and abuse from the Forest fans. But I do think he's settled in quite well, and his fans are taking a liking to him. He's done quite a few nice little flicks and tricks and scored a few goals in pre-season. So I'm quite looking forward to see how he plays in sort of a better team. He struggled at Bolton because of the team he was around him. But yeah, I'm quite content with the Sammy Envy signing because it's a very low risk signing from my point of view. Next up, we have our most recent signing being Samba Sal from Dynamo Moscow from reportedly £640,000 or euros or whatever they use over there. I think it equates to £600,000 or something. He's a 30-year-old defensive midfielder. In my eyes, is what we need. He's on a 2-year contract. He's sort of defensive, can pass the ball, very physical. Sort of what we need to a T, really, because we are struggling from set pieces. So his bit of physicality in the box will help. Again, another low risk signing. I don't mind it coming in. Obviously, I think he's Malian and French nationality, but another low risk signing, which I think will suit us quite well because we've got a decent core. We just need players to sort of flesh it out and build around. And I feel if he's in rotation, if he's starting every week, I think he'll be a good signing no matter what, especially on such a low risk. So another positive signing from my point of view. Now, one of my favourite signings of the window is going to be a free transfer of Uncle Albert Adoma from Aston Villa. Obviously, Ghanaian and English, I believe. Obviously, part of that Villa team that got promoted last year in the playoffs, beating Derby in the final. But I think Adoma is proven at this level with Middlesbrough and Villa. Obviously, played under Karanka under Villa at Middlesbrough. But I do think Adoma, he's shown quite a lot in pre-season. For a 31-year-old, he's shown he's still got quite a lot in the tank. He impressed me quite a lot at Crystal Palace in the Palace friendly. He was quite tricky on the ball, sort of putting a couple good crosses, and sort of what we need to sort of pair with Joe Lolly. But I do think Adoma, again, he's on quite a bit a week, reportedly around 25,000 apparently, which I'm not going to complain about if he gets goals or assists this season. It's fair enough. He's proven at his level, so it's a pretty straightforward transfer, and again, another positive one from my opinion. Now, my sort of qualms with this transfer, I'll explain later, but the next transfer is Yuri Ribeiro, or Ribeiro, however you say it, 22-year-old, Portuguese-Swiss nationality from Benfica on reportedly free transfer. There may be hidden fees in that, we don't know. But he came as part of a duo. Obviously, Alpha Semedo joined on loan. I'll talk about that a bit later. But Yuri Ribeiro came in on a free, reportedly, for a couple of years. And he looks more like a left winger to me. He does seem like an attacking-minded player, but Benfica's response to him leaving was quite positive. The fans didn't rate him too highly, and I feel that's a bit worrying for me. But obviously, he's dropping down quite a bit from playing Champions League-ish, Europa League-ish football to coming down to the Championship. I feel he'll be used, but in pre-season, Robinson, obviously our current left-back, has sort of taken the role of left-back in pre-season, so I don't know where Lamici sees him fit. But I think it's a more risky transfer because of he's sort of unproven at any level. Obviously, Adoma's proven. Amiobi's not necessarily proven, but he's sort of got a bit about him, and we can see he's got something about him. But we've not seen too much of Yuri Ribeiro in pre-season, which is why I'm a bit sort of on the fence about him. But I've no doubts that he could turn into a very, very good left back for us this season. Now, I talked about Alpha Semedo briefly just now. But I think loan signing, he's looked very good in the preseason game at Sociedad. He was sort of all over the pitch. I think not much needs to be said about this signing. 21-year-old Guinea-Bissau. I can't say his nationality, but I think he's also got Portuguese as an option. Obviously, loan from Benfica. He looks classy, he looks tall, he looks physical, he looks pretty much what we need. And I think the second last signing is going to be 22-year-old Rafa Mir, sort of centre-forward, sort of target man kind of striker. Coming on loan from Wolves. Not much can be said about him because I've not seen much of him. Scored 7 goals in the league last year for Las Palmas, I believe. This is a signing that we'll have to wait for because I'm not sure. I'm not convinced, but if he can prove something wrong, wearing the number 14 shirt this year for us, I'll be delighted if he can pull it off for us. And now, I think this is the signing most Forest fans are more positive about is Thiago Silva, 26-year-old centre-mid cam kind of role from Portugal. Coming on a free from Firenze in the Portuguese regions. I think he's shown just playmaking ability, awareness, and he's shown quite a lot of good traits. Whether it's always the physicality thing, but I think we can look past this with players like Thiago Silva and João Carvalho going into this next season. I think it'll be exciting to see what he does, to be honest. I'm very, very excited to see how he will settle in sort of English football in the Championship over a 46 game season. I think this is the one I'm most positive for, along with Adoma and potentially Sambasau, because I'm quite interested to see what Sambasau can do. But Thiago Silva, I think, could play a pivotal role in whatever happens this season for us. Now on to the transfers out. As far as I'm concerned, as I'm recording this, Tyler Walker's just gone out on loan to Lincoln. Panagiotis Tatsidis has gone to Leeds, I believe, or somewhere for about 600,000. I mean, those two. Tyler Walker, fine, get him some experience. The lad's only 23. It's actually just never featured in a Forest shirt for us. Came. I don't know really. He sort of came and left, and we never really saw much of him. Velios has left, and I'm so happy that he's gone because it's far too long he's been at the club, and I can't stand him. But there's some of the transfers there. But just to briefly go over a few of the some of them that come in here, it's Stephen Henderson's gone to Palace, which I don't know how he's pulled that off. Obviously, after being released, George Grant has gone to Lincoln. Ben Osborne's gone to Sheffield United. Obviously, Ben Osborne divided a lot of opinions at Forest. I loved him. I'm personally not going to get involved. It's too into why I liked him versatility wise, but I did like him. I was a big fan of him. I always have been. Kareem Mansourif had left, which is a bit of a shocking one, but he's gone to Qatar reportedly for a decent fee. We released Jamie Ward. Fuentes got released. We never saw much of him after I think he broke his leg. Liam Bossin's gone, and then obviously Gonçalves, Malawage, Pele, and Saidi Yanko have all gone back on loan. And that's it for the transfers. Now, I am fully aware this video is getting on quite a bit, and cheers for staying if you're still around. But I do want to talk about my expectations for this season, and they're quite mixed because I feel we have a team that could push on quite high in the league, but we also have a team that could sort of fizzle out and just sort of drop off towards the end of the season. But this year, I'm not expecting to sort of achieve sort of top 6. It'd be great if we did. But we do have Tendai Daruku's just gone down with an ACL injury. Ben Loan's going to miss the start of the season with an injury. But we do have quite a few players at our disposal, especially I think we have 4 keepers signed on. So I do think depth-wise we are quite good this year. Apart from right-back, we do only have Matty Cash, who's a first-team player, and Jaden Richardson, who is a youth player at right-back. But I do, in general, believe that we do have a very solid team. I mean, anywhere from sort of 8th upwards, I'd take as a good season this year. I'm not, as I've said, I'm not expecting playoffs as much. I've had that sort of typical Forest feeling of we're going up this year, but I've sort of gone through it and I've thought more logically about sort of Limucci's new sort of a building process and sort of building for the future. And I do think if we carry on the way we're going, we will become very good contenders for this in this league. If we keep the likes of Lolly. If Graben starts firing and keeps healthy for this season, I do think we have a good chance. And we have a decent few young players. Obviously, I went to see the Lincoln game. Forest played Lincoln in a little cup friendly kind of thing. And the likes of, there was a young right back I'm not too aware of the name of, Alex Mighton. Played quite well, should have had a goal, but played quite well, tore their defender apart a bit. And there was players like Keith Asare featured. And players like that just did quite well and sort of held their own against a strong League One outfit. So I believe the future's in good hands for Forest. But I do believe sort of 8th upwards is my sort of, not minimum, but sort of expectation for this season. Anywhere around 8th is where I believe we'll finish. But obviously I'm hoping for more, and I'd be delighted if we do go up or get the playoffs. It'd be a good experience for the lads. But I do think 8th is where I'd put us. Now, the last thing I want to talk about before a brief sort of overview at the end is the appointment of Sabri Limucci was met with quite a bit of banter on Twitter, and I'm sort of in the Derby Forest sort of banterish kind of community. Derby saw it as sort of unexperienced, this, that, and the other, and then they went and signed fucking Philip Cocu, whatever the fuck his name is, Cocu, the fucking clown. But I'm positive to an extent because obviously he's unexperienced in England, all this bullshit. But a lot of managers were sort of, he's an unknown entity, sort of Nuno Espirito Santo took Wolves to the certain heights that they took him to, obviously with the help of Neves and co. But I'm sort of more positive than I usually am about a Forest manager. I'm thinking back over the previous managers. Montagna, I wasn't excited about because he didn't necessarily strike me as a manager that he didn't have intent to play good football. Dougie Freeman, I was quite excited about, but that tailed off quite quickly. Warburton, I always shout myself for because we were promised this sort of Brentford style football. Came in and played shitty defensive, passed the ball around the back football. No intent. O'Neill, I was quietly confident about. Obviously, it shows how much I fucking know. But I always had a sort of thing that O'Neill was going to be shit. But obviously, to welcome a legend back to the club, especially alongside Roy Keane. But there's just a few managers that I don't get relatively excited. I've not got excited for a manager in quite a while. I'm thinking back to Billy Davis' second stint at the club. But Limucci is a player he's a manager, that sort of revitalised this excitement around the City ground. He's sort of given us something he's given us a target, and obviously the owners sort of joked with him saying, "You don't get us promoted, you kill him." Which, to be honest, I don't put it past him because he's some Greek mafia boss that I'm not going to talk ill of. I fucking love the bloke, partly so he doesn't shoot me. But I do think we're going in the right direction as a sort of overall club. I feel the way we're going, we can't any season this season that isn't top half will be seen negatively. But I do think we're building a team. I don't think we're the finished piece. Someone like saying Leeds are the finished sort of thing. West Brom are sort of the finished article. But I do feel I will go over it in a sort of updated championship predictions video more briefly. But I do feel we are sort of building. We're not sort of built like some of the teams that are in this league. We are building. We are building sort of a younger core with some experienced, sort of sprinkle some experience in there. It's all about getting the right balance in the championship, and it's complete. It's not random, but it's completely random if you look at the table. And obviously, I feel with the size of the squad we have, obviously with Worrell not being out this season, centre backs won't be an issue for us, sort of injury wise. I do feel it's positive, but I'm not getting the feeling that we should be challenging for maybe a playoff final, sort of that range. Obviously, we've got some good players in here, but there are sort of areas where I think we need to improve, which is I will talk about in a future video, and throughout the season I'll give you updates on what I think needs to happen. But I do think we have a good core. I think if you look at our squad, we have Muric who's come in, we've got Milosevic who I fucking love. I can't say a word wrong about the bloke. I love him. We've got players like obviously Carvalho, Thiago Silva, who we're excited to see. We've got Jakob, who's been very good for us last season when he played. Lolly, obviously. Graben, who's a 20-goal a season striker if he keeps fit. And I feel we just need to build around it and sort of build a bit more team cohesion, because I feel the Portuguese lads last season came in and were a bit alienated and not up to what we were looking for. But I do feel we're going in the right direction, and I'm glad we're sort of out of that Flowers area. We're sort of going forward, and now to not look back at that sort of shithouse era that we were in. To sort of be in the club that everyone was like, oh, they were good 30 years ago, 40 years ago, but now they've sort of fizzled out. We do belong in the Premier League, along with teams like Leeds, I believe. I just hope we get there soon. But yeah, that's going to be it for my quite long Forest season preview. I've not touched on everything because I don't want it to be fucking 3 hours long. But I will, if you want, let me know in the comments what videos you want me to do, because I do want to do content that you want to see. But yeah, this has just been my review. If you liked it, if you disagree with anything, if you're a Forest fan, if you're not a Forest fan, let me know in the comments where you think Forest will finish, where you think your club will finish. And I'll see you in the next one.